Madani, economy policy to drive Malaysia's growth at ASEAN and global levels. Datuk Sri Anwar representing mandate of Malaysians on Israeli aggression. Good evening and Salam Malaysia Madani. You are watching Malaysia Tonight. I'm Otto Othman. The Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim is confident that the Madani economy policy under his administration will continue to drive Malaysia's economy at ASEAN and global levels. Now, he said Malaysia's encouraging economic indicators and being recognized as a major hub in the field of semiconductors and green energy in Southeast Asia is a positive indication of the country's ability to play a global economic role. According to the Premier, opportunities in the palm industry, automotive, pharmaceuticals and medical products, semiconductors, digital and renewable energy sectors were discussed with Egyptian industry and business leaders in a very productive session. Speaking at the session, Datuk Sri Anwar said as Malaysia assumes the ASEAN chairmanship next year, the various areas of focus include further rising economic and trade activities between member countries. He said Malaysia, a leading player and producer in the green energy sector, will boost intra-ASEAN economic and trade activities and will also focus on further boosting the development of digitalization among member countries. Malaysia is ready to channel financial aid to Lebanon to help victims affected by Israeli attacks. Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim said the matter was conveyed to Lebanese Prime Minister Najib Mikati during the leader's visit to Riyadh, the capital of Saudi Arabia, before the extraordinary summit of Arab Islamic states. Commenting further on the matter, the Premier said during the meeting he expressed Malaysia's continued support for Lebanon, which is currently facing the aggression of the Israeli Zionist regime. He also said that Malaysia was also directly affected by the tension in Lebanon following the Israeli attack which injured 6 members of the Malaysian battalion Malbat participating in the United Nations Interim Force UNIFIL mission. Meanwhile, in a meeting with the Crown Prince of Kuwait, Datuk Sri Anwar discussed the cooperation between the ASEAN Summit and the Gulf Cooperation Council, given that Malaysia, as ASEAN 2025 chairman, will host the summit next year. Earlier, Datuk Sri Anwar arrived in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, to attend the extraordinary Arab Islamic Summit scheduled today. In a post on X, the Foreign Ministry stated that the Prime Minister arrived at King Khalid International Airport in Riyadh from Cairo, Egypt. Upon his arrival at the airport, the Premier received a warm welcome from the Deputy Governor of Riyadh Region, Prince Muhammad bin Abdul Rahman bin Abdul Aziz, and Riyadh Region Mayor, Prince Dr. Faisal bin Abdul Aziz bin Ayaf. Datuk Sri Anwar also received a Guard of Honor. Before departing for Cairo yesterday, the Premier expressed his commitment to representing the voice and mandate of the Malaysian people concerning the ongoing aggression and humanitarian suffering related to the Israeli Zionist regime's actions in Palestine and Lebanon. Datuk Sri Anwar is scheduled to return to Cairo to continue a series of pre-planned engagements with Malaysian and Egyptian delegations. Social media platform providers need to be more proactive in helping the government combat immoral and illegal activities on social media. Communications Minister Fahmi Fadil said that on numerous occasions, the platform providers have been found to be slow to act and only take down immoral content when complaints are made by relevant parties. For instance, he said a Facebook page related to sexual crimes against children had gone viral a few weeks ago.
Saya percaya sekarang Meta telah take down, tapi masalahnya Meta tidak proaktif. Hanya setelah dibangkitkan baru sepatutnya dia dah flag patutnya dari awal. Ini antara sebab kenapa kita mahu platform-platform ini dilesenkan supaya secara automatik dia dah tahu benda itu salah, buatlah automatik. Apa guna dia ada AI? Kan? Apa guna dia ambil duit daripada rakyat Malaysia, daripada Malaysia. Pendapatan Facebook tahun 2023 2,5 bilion ringgit. 2,5 bilion, takkan dia tak ada duit untuk nak buat saringan automatik terhadap semua page jenayah ni.
Fahmi also reiterated that the introduction of the class license for platform providers under the Communications and Multimedia Act 1998 is a necessary step to combat three major crimes that have now migrated to the virtual space, namely online scams and gambling, cyberbullying, and sexual crimes against children. The National Artificial Intelligence Office, which will be launched next month, will study the need to upgrade existing laws or enact new ones related to artificial intelligence, AI, and other new technologies. Digital Minister Gobind Singh Dio said the study aims to address challenges that will emerge from the development of technology, including the issue of personal data leakage.
Kita memang sedar berkaitan dengan perkara-perkara ini. Juga terdapat negara-negara lain serantau dan juga peringkat global yang telah pun melihat secara spesifik, dan kita selepas meluncurkan pejabat AI pada bulan depan, kita akan melihat keperluan untuk kita menggubal undang-undang ataupun mewujudkan piawaian-piawaian yang perlu untuk menangani keadaan tersebut.
Gobind said the National Artificial Intelligence Office is the main organization that will monitor the implementation of AI technology by sectors in the country to ensure that all aspects will be well protected from any threats and abuse. He added the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation had also launched the AI governance and ethics guidelines to provide an environment and ecosystem that supports the design and development of AI that is ethical and responsible. The Ministry of Education MOE is in the final stages of preparing a proposed solution for the One Bestari Net Service project, which will be submitted to the Cabinet to decide on the next direction. Deputy Education Minister Wong Kah Woh said the government is committed to resolving the issue.
Tidak ada apa-apa tindakan undang-undang sivil difaulkan di mahkamah oleh kerajaan setakat ini. Dalam masa yang sama, pelaksanaan projek One Bestari Net ini masih dalam siasatan Suruhanjaya Pencegahan Rasuah Malaysia. KPM menyerahkan sepenuhnya kepada SPRM untuk menyiasat perkara ini dan bersedia memberikan kerjasama sepenuhnya kepada pihak SPRM dalam siasatan ini.
Wong said the One Bestari Net project is a government initiative carried out through the ministry to replace and improve the information and communication technology network system in schools. It was an initiative intended as an improvement to the school net service that ended on 12 December 2011 by emphasizing the end-to-end network service aspect and virtual learning environment. He said more than 9,800 schools were supplied with the One Bestari Net service throughout the project. The Works Ministry, KKR, through the Department of Public Works, JKR, has raised the level of preparedness to deal with the northeast monsoon from 5th November until March 2025 with the operation of the Disaster Operations Room Big Ben and the JKR e-Disaster System mobile application upgraded. Minister Datuk Seri Alexander Nathalinggi said the integrated operation of Big Ben and the JKR e-Disaster System is not only for the public, but is able to be a reference source for all stakeholders, especially the agencies involved for more efficient coordination and national disaster management. He said Big Ben serves as a one-stop information center for disasters such as floods, landslides, collapsed roads and damaged or collapsed bridges, which involve JKR's supervision of assets along state and federal roads.
Apps ini memang boleh dibuat turun sekarang pun ya. Jadi apps sekali lah semua segala aspek kepengoperasian dalam pemantauan dan pelaporan. Yang penting ni maklumat ini boleh didapat oleh pengguna, ya, pengguna jalan raya, rakyat biasa di mana-mana tempat yang terkesan, ya.
He said the JKR e-Disaster System application, meanwhile, is an integrated platform that integrates data on the disaster management site. It is accessed directly on mobile phones and can be downloaded for free from Apple App Store and Google Play. Still ahead in our business segment, Malaysia to monitor United States' new economic policy.
Welcome to On the Table.
Obviously,
There are two main engines of growth in any economy. What are the implications of Malaysia's growth on employment, income levels, and also standard of living per population?
From a historical perspective, it's been good.
The capacity in our country can be built to be in the same level as the world standards.
Malaysia will monitor the new economic policies to be released by the upcoming United States cabinet following Donald Trump's recent presidential election victory. Finance Minister Tun Datuk Sri Amir Hamzah Azizan noted that Trump is currently in the process of forming his cabinet. He said in the meantime, the government will observe the new policies emerging from the US and hope they will continue to drive global economic growth. The minister said Malaysia has a highly diversified economy and the country is confident in its ability to sustain strong growth. He added that Malaysia's economy remains on the right track as the nation's gross domestic product recorded an average growth of 5.1% in the first 9 months of this year. Datuk Sri Amir Hamzah also noted that inflation was under control at 1.8%, while the unemployment rate declined to 3.2% in September. Meanwhile, commenting on the increasing number of loans issued by non-banking institutions, he shared that the government plans to introduce a new act to regulate these activities. The minister said the act will help regulate lending, including buy now, pay later, and similar schemes, making it easier to detect and address any issues resulting from these activities. Deputy Finance Minister Lim Hui Ying has assured that the ringgit will be efficiently managed to strengthen its resilience against external factors. Now, she said the government would ensure that the ringgit is traded in an orderly manner and Bank Negara Malaysia BNM would remain prepared to curb excessive currency movements in the foreign exchange market. Chief Statistician Datuk Sri Dr. Muhammad Uzair Mahidin said the growth momentum was primarily driven by a 42.6% expansion in the special trade activities subsector, which continues to demonstrate accelerated growth. Additionally, he said the residential buildings and non-residential buildings subsectors gained momentum by expanding 27.8% and 27.7% respectively. Meanwhile, the civil engineering subsector also expanded to a more moderate pace, still contributed positively with a 12% growth rate. He said that of the 41.1 billion ringgit in work done value recorded in the third quarter, 15.2 billion ringgit was attributed to the civil engineering subsector, primarily in the construction of roads and railways, as well as utility projects. Meanwhile, the value of work done for non-residential buildings and residential buildings was 11.8 billion ringgit and 9.4 billion ringgit respectively. The special trade activities made up to 4.8 billion ringgit, largely in site preparation, electrical installation, as well as plumbing, heat and air conditioning installation activities. The negotiation with the contractor for the Mutiara Line Light Rail Transit LRT project in Pulau Pinang is now in the final stage, and the work is expected to commence early next year. Transport Minister Anthony Leok said the negotiation between Mass Rapid Transit Corporation Sdn Bhd MRT Corp and the contractor SRS Consortium is still ongoing, as there are several matters that need to be finalized before the proposal can be submitted for approval by the Finance Ministry.
Sekarang ini sudah berada dalam fasa terakhir. Apabila dimuktamadkan, selepas itu akan diangkat untuk kelulusan terakhir oleh Kementerian Kewangan. Baru selepas itu boleh dianugerahkan kepada pihak kontraktor tersebut. Kita harap segala proses itu dapat diselesaikan akhir tahun ini, dan selepas itu kita sudah tentu akan lancarkan secepat mungkin apabila adanya keputusan terakhir.
Without giving a specific commencement date, the minister said the first phase of the project will begin from the Pulau Pinang International Airport to Komta, while the second phase will involve a route crossing over to Pulau Pinang Central in Seberang Perai. Sarawak is projected to experience resilient economic growth of 5 to 6% this year due to strong external demand, increased domestic activities and easing inflationary pressures. Sarawak Premier Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg said the services sector is anticipated to grow by 6.7% to become a major growth driver. And this is largely attributed to the tourism sector, which saw a 21.4% increase in business and leisure arrivals from January to September. He said expansion in trade activities, particularly in transport, logistics, financial services, and insurance, also highlights Sarawak's efforts to strengthen its economic base. On the demand side, he said trade activities have bolstered Sarawak's economic resilience, with total trade value increasing by 5.4% to 115.6 billion ringgit in the first 7 months of this year. He noted that exports saw a 6.6% rise, supported by liquefied natural gas and crude petroleum exports, while imports grew by 3.5%. Tan Sri Abang Johari also said investment remains a priority in Sarawak's economic strategy, with a 6.84 billion ringgit in private investments recorded in the first half of the year. The construction sector sustains its momentum with positive growth of 22.9%, reaching 41.1 billion ringgit in the third quarter of this year, compared to a 20.2% increase in the second quarter. Chief Statistician Datuk Sri Dr. Muhammad Uzair Mahidin said the growth momentum was primarily driven by a 42.6% expansion in the special trade activities subsector, which continues to demonstrate accelerated growth. Additionally, he said the residential buildings and non-residential buildings subsectors gained momentum by expanding 27.8% and 27.7% respectively. Meanwhile, the civil engineering subsector also expanded to a more moderate pace, still contributed positively with a 12% growth rate. He said that of the 41.1 billion ringgit in work done value recorded in the third quarter, 15.2 billion ringgit was attributed to the civil engineering subsector, primarily in the construction of roads and railways, as well as utility projects. Meanwhile, the value of work done for non-residential buildings and residential buildings was 11.8 billion ringgit and 9.4 billion ringgit respectively. The special trade activities made up to 4.8 billion ringgit, largely in sites preparation, electrical installation, as well as plumbing, heat and air conditioning installation activities. Siemens Energy Private Limited and Tenaga Nasional Berhad TNB are exploring the integration of the national utilities' large-scale power generation plants with hydrogen. Siemens Energy Group Senior Vice President, Managing Director of Asia Pacific, Throy Force, said the company is completing a feasibility study and will present it to TNB in the next couple of months and the investment needed. He said both parties have signed a memorandum of understanding for the initiative to equip TNB's existing power generating plants with hydrogen. TNB had planned in 2022 to retire selected coal plants earlier than the power purchase agreement's expiry to accelerate its sustainability goals to reach net zero emissions by 2050. It also foresees coal retirement plans to raise the enterprise value and transition TNB Power Generation Sdn Berhad's Genco portfolio. It also intends to collaborate with technology partners to provide technology that will help Genco venture into cleaner sources, such as hydrogen. Force said the collaboration aims to help TNB to decarbonize its facilities by moving away from fossil fuels to greener fuels. He noted that importance of public-private partnerships in decarbonization efforts throughout ASEAN, Malaysia's ideal location in the region, and that the ASEAN power grid discussion is gaining momentum. Azam Jaya Berhad, a road construction company, plans to reduce its dependence on external contractors. Its Chief of Sustainability and Innovative, Dr. Johannes Lo Chow Jack, said that towards this goal, the company will handle more projects using its own resources, especially the Pan-Borneo Highway project. Elaborating further, Dr. Johannes said the company plans to implement more internal projects as part of its growth strategy.
We command a market share. As for our growth strategies, we plan to try to reduce our reliance on subcon, trying to do more things in-house. And also, we are also extensively expanding our fleets of construction machineries. And most importantly, we are also in the forefront of embracing very high-end technologies.
He also said that the company is also optimistic about its potential to expand to Kalimantan and Sarawak. Upon its initial listing on the Bursa market, Azam Jaya's shares opened at RM1, which is a premium of 22 sen over its initial offering price of 78 sen, with 5.12 million shares traded. Azam Jaya mainly builds road infrastructure, including roads, highways, bridges, flyovers and tunnels in Sabah. The company is currently working on 8 projects with an unbilled contract value totaling 1.08 billion ringgit. Mega Fortress Berhad, with a current annual capacity of approximately 570 million units in Malaysia, plans to further expansion with new production facilities in the United Kingdom. Chief Operating Officer Jason Francis White said the company aims to increase capacity by 200 million units, adding that the capacity expansion is not a significant concern.
We're able to rapidly increase capacity in a very short time frame. Anything between 30 and 100 days, we can increase capacity quite substantially through implementation of new molds, mold technologies, and using vetted subcontract OEM manufacturers.
Mega Fortress is principally engaged in investment holdings as well as in the design, manufacture and trading of security seals and related products. The company debuted on Bursa Malaysia's main market today, opening flat at 67 sen with 8.58 million shares traded. Malaysia must assert strong diplomatic influence to address regional crisis while upholding its humanitarian principles beyond Southeast Asian borders. Malaysia's message was clear at the 44th and 45th ASEAN summits in Vientiane last month as it assumed the 2025 chairmanship for Laos to unite the divergent voices within the 10-member grouping to move forward. A vociferous Malaysia has the potential to change the diplomatic dynamics within ASEAN, with a hope to shift the status quo on prickly Myanmar's civil war and the territorial disputes in the South China Sea issues. These flashpoints in ASEAN's backyard need urgent attention, as Myanmar's conflict is causing a massive humanitarian crisis, while the maritime dispute is leading to bitterness among the grouping. University Malaya's adjunct professor of regional and global affairs, Dr. Ilanko Karupana, said there is a pressing need for coherent strategies to address the intricate challenges posed by the South China Sea and Myanmar crisis. Dr. Ilanko noted that Malaysia's stand is clear, to stand by ASEAN, and that it is guiding principle. Indonesia and China have agreed to strengthen maritime cooperation in the South China Sea, as outlined in the 2002 Declaration on the Conduct of Parties, which was agreed upon by ASEAN countries and China. The cooperation aims to promote peace, friendship and stability in the region, with a focus on economic collaboration, particularly in fisheries and conservation, based on mutual respect and equality. Indonesia's Foreign Affairs Ministry stated that the cooperation will be carried out in accordance with the laws and regulations of each country. For Indonesia, the cooperation must comply with a range of relevant laws and regulations, including those governing territorial waters, laws related to the ratification of international maritime agreements, particularly the 1982 United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. According to the ministry, all of Indonesia's international obligations and agreements related to the area will remain unaffected and continue to be valid without modification. Indonesia believes that the cooperation will contribute to the resolution of the Code of Conduct in the South China Sea, which would create stability in the area. Singapore's Health Ministry and the Singapore Medical Council will recognize 9 more overseas medical schools from Australia, Ireland and the United Kingdom, effective January next year. Now, this will bring the total number of recognized overseas medical schools in the country to 112. The ministry stated that this is part of the Council's regular review to ensure that foreign-trained medical doctors applying to practice in Singapore have received training comparable to that of local graduates. It explains that the additions will help Singapore better meet the growing demand for doctors as the population ages, even as the country has increased the annual intake at local medical schools from around 400 students in 2013 to over 500 last year. The ministry added that it has accepted the Council's recommendations after the Council considered various factors, including the international rankings of the schools, whether the language of instruction aligns with local practice, and the performance of graduates from the institutions. Well, that concludes this evening's Malaysia Tonight. In our top story, Madani economy policy to drive Malaysia's growth at ASEAN and global levels. Do tune in to World Today, coming up tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. on TV2. Till then, I'm Otto Othman. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Thanks for watching.